Its arcane mystery has hopelessly befuddled scores of honorable players. Divinely obscured, who can know the secret of this auditory anomaly? What is the answer? Who knows the question? Today, we render the salacious truth about the chord that's gripped untold hearts. The mu major.
Steely Dan was a band, a good band, a damn good band. And a significant swath of Steely Dan's appeal was the way that they used sophisticated chords and harmony that was head and shoulders above their rock and roll contemporaries, and dangerously getting into the territory of jazz music.
But they had to be cautious with these wacky chords. Coloring outside the lines too much would have branded them as a bona fide jazz outfit and thus unfit for the world of rock and roll. So, Walter Becker and Donald Fagen, the chord duo that was Steely Dan, had a curious dilemma: how to work with more complicated sounds while remaining securely within the sphere of pop music. One of the tools they used to square this circle is the topic of today's video: the mu major chord.
So what is this curious chord? The mu is a variant of the major add 9. An add 9 is when you take a plain, regular major triad and you just add the 9 to it, the 9th scale degree up from the root of the chord.
And I can already hear the overachievers among you have noticed that the 9 of the chord is the same pitch as the 2 of the chord. Now, technically, you could call this an add 2 chord instead of an add 9, but if there's at least an octave between that note and the root, you call it a 9, and it's just the more common terminology.
But the mu is no ordinary generic add 9. It has a code. The specificity comes from the chord's voicing. To quote Fagen and Becker themselves, inversions of the mu major may be formed in the usual manner with one caveat. The voicing of the second and third scale tones, which is the essence of the chord's appeal, should always occur as a whole tone dissonance.
It's a bit dry, I know. So what does it mean? What it means is that we must preserve the whole step rub in between the 9 and the 3. So let us now talk about chord voicing.
Here's our framework. We have 12 unique pitches in the Western chromatic scale. They're like 12 cranes in the crane box. A triad, as the name suggests, is a chord consisting of 3 of these pitches. We use only 3, while the other 9 available notes can be preserved for later. And we aren't limited to just one iteration of each of those 3 pitches. They can appear in different voices or octaves.
And with an added tone chord like the mu, we're still only using 4 out of the 12 available pitches. Now, unless you choose to spend life's hours practicing some type of circumcised recorder or something, your instrument is probably capable of playing more than 12 notes. And this is where the subtle craft of voicing comes in.
Just how many ways are there of expressing a single idea? You ask 100 different painters to paint a picture of a house, you'll get 105 different houses. And so it is with chords as well. So let's have a nice basic example and just start with a simple A-flat major triad. Only 3 notes we got to worry about: A-flat, C, and E-flat. Let's hear one way to express an A-flat major chord. All right, it's basic, but it does the job. Now let's hear something a little spicier. Pretty cool. Now how about something moody?
So you see, even with only 3 pitches to work with, we can achieve different sounds, different emotions with different voicings. When he was talking about how they would teach Steely Dan songs to their musicians, Walter Becker said this:
We would go in with a piano chart that showed Donald's chord voicings, and Donald would usually go through the keyboard chart with the keyboard player, because if you just write chord symbols, everyone will play them differently. The keyboard parts, in most cases, were so integral to what we were doing that a lot of the ingredients had to be there in that way. But then the keyboard player was free to articulate and add things to that.
And one of those tasty, ironic ingredients was indeed the mu chord. Now, let's put one together. Let's create an F mu chord. We begin with a regular F major triad, F-A-C, and to that we add the 9, which in this case is a G. That sounds nice, but it's not a mu chord. We broke the rule. There's one rule and we broke it. The voicing of the second and third scale tones should always occur as a whole tone dissonance.
Okay, let's fix it. The second scale tone is the G we added. The third scale tone is the A of the chord. Right now, that G is above the A. They're a minor seventh apart. A minor seventh is not a whole tone dissonance. It's actually the inverse of a whole tone. But thankfully, it's very easy to make this right. All we have to do is bring that G down an octave and...
There it is. F mu in all its postmodern hipster swag. Now, of course, like any other chord, you can craft these bad boys on any root pitch that you like. B flat, D, D sharp, D double sharp, you get the point.
And like all the great artists, Steely Dan sometimes broke the very rules they made. As we now know, the only guideline for a mu major is that there's a rub between the 9 and the 3. Except when the 3 is in the bass, then you stack the other notes quarterly, then we have to talk about inversions, and that's another video.
And this is the point in the video where I would be playing you examples of Steely Dan songs so you all could experience the majesty of the mu as performed by the masters themselves. Except that I have to admit my fear that doing so might incite the wrath of some copyright commando squad or something like that. So instead, I will be performing the examples myself. Here goes.
We hear you're leaving, that's okay. I thought our little wild time had just begun. I guess you kinda scared yourself. Are you reeling in the years? Stone away the time. Are you gathering up the tears? Have you had enough of mine? Are you reeling in the years? Stone away the time. Are you gathering up the tears? Have you had enough of mine? The morning fabulous. Who says today's a fun day? Why do I feel like sailing again? Honey, it's you, Jamie, run away. I like your pin shot. I keep it with your letter, done up in blueprint blue. It sure looks good on you. When you smile for the camera, I know I love you better. Peg, it will come back to you. Peg, it will come back to you. Then the shutter falls. You see it all in 3D. It's your favorite foreign movie. The Teddy's rolling almost every night. skating backwards at the speed of light. He's changed in 1,000 little ways. He's changed. Yes, indeed. You know he's moving on metal. Yes, he's hanging tight with the jack of speed.
I hope I haven't been waffling on for too long. There really isn't that much of a secret to the mu chord. You just take a major triad and you shove a 2 under the 3. If you're playing piano, just move your finger like this, and you've pretty much got it. But it is a key element in the secret sauce that made Steely Dan the champions of hip, groovy pop music. To quote the gentleman, "Once you become accustomed to this wholesome harmonic mind bath, you'll soon find yourself sneaking seconds into minor 7th chords and stacking fourths like a Hindemith gone haywire in Harlem." In the description, I'll leave links to a few helpful articles that I read while researching this harmonic oddity. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please leave a comment. My name is Jackson, and thank you for watching.